I'm Christy Hartman. Welcome back to my channel. I recently watched a video by my fellow YouTube friend Devin Rex, and she used Fun Phone in a colorograph print that she had completed. And I was super inspired to try using Fun Foam with my poinsettias to see if I could print using my gel plate with these stamps. I made 3 of them in 3 different sizes. I found the Fun Foam worked really well, and I used white Fun Foam which has a sticky back to it, so it would stick to the larger piece of black foam that I attached the Fun Foam to. And I've used these quite a bit and they seem to be holding up fairly well. I transferred my pattern onto the Fun Foam, cut out the center, and then used a stylus to go around the design to make an impression in them. I then cut out around the black foam and it seemed to work fairly well. The only complaint I would have about these is that they're difficult to pick up once you have them down onto your plate into the paint. The paint tends to grab onto the Fun Foam, and I didn't have quite enough space to pick these up without leaving fingerprint impressions in my paint. So I think for the future I will probably try and figure out a way to put a handle on the backs of these. These are some of the resulting prints that you're going to see me print up in this video. This one I didn't think worked out very well. I added a little bit of gold over the top of this print to try and make it pop a little bit more, and it actually shows up better on the video camera than it does in real life. This one was a stamped print, which you will see me stamp these onto this white piece of printer paper. I also added an overlay to each one of these of a color shift paint. I also added what was left from the negative image on my plate using that stencil that you'll see from pmartiststudio. I actually really like this one. This one also has the stamped images. I stamped magenta and I stamped light ultramarine and then went over the top of it with color shift. And the last one is a stamped image using teal and then this, which I believe was Payne's Gray. And then I went over the top of this one with a PBO iridescent paint. Let's get started. Let me show you how I developed these homemade poinsettia stamps using Fun Foam in a 1/8 inch width and another larger piece which is approximately 1/4 inch. The 1/8 inch size has a sticky back which made it easy to adhere to the larger, deeper piece. I then cut out around the white stamp. Let's see how these stamps print up. We're going to use open Payne's Gray. I brayered this paint out very, very thin because I didn't want it to be too terribly thick. You're going to see as I print this on both paper as a print and as a stamped image. Next, we're going to try the same exact thing with teal, but I'm going to use some of the smaller stamps that I made up to go around the outside edge of that print, which I just completed using Payne's Gray. I'm going to do this a number of times, which I love the look of. And then we have the gel printed image. The next one, we're doing the same exact thing, only using a thin layer of light ultramarine, which is a more opaque color. So it actually printed up really well as well. And I'm just doing this on white printer paper. You're going to see later on in the video that I enhance this somewhat. Each one of these gel prints has to dry before I can use them. Now I'm trying the exact same thing with magenta. I want to try this again with a darker blue, and I'm also using my 8 by 10 inch plate. And you can see that I get quite a few stamped images by using this larger plate. The 5 by 7 worked, but I think this made it a little bit easier. And I felt like I got some pretty good images. And here I am pulling that print. This is a folk art color shift in the Blue Violet Flash is the name of it. And I'm just going to enhance the prints that I just completed by using that color shift paint, which I think for the most part was very effective. I absolutely love this one. Don't know what I'll do with it. Now this one I just darkened up a little too much. So the interest of playing, I'm going to use a little bit of this open gold, and this is a stencil from pmartiststudio, and I go right over the top of it. Unfortunately, I felt like it obliterated the poinsettia print, but it was a nice gold. Now this one I really loved. Again, I don't know what I'll do with it, but we'll have to see. And then I decide to try one more thing with this PBO iridescent paint on this smaller print, which I also really, really liked. I decide that it's time to pull these prints, and I'm using anthraquinone over the top of this light ultramarine blue. This one I decide to use this iridescent gold from Golden. And of course then we have the magenta one, which I'm also going to pull with a little bit of gold. And then let's see how these all turn out when I'm ready to pull them. I'm pretty happy with most of these prints. I think this was a fun, interesting way to use a stamp. These were the prints that I just showed you how I printed using my stamping method. This one was the magenta print, which actually got pulled off camera, so you didn't get to see this one pulled. You can see the gold in the background. This isn't my favorite one. I don't know why. I think the color combo is not as vibrant, but this one I absolutely love. I think it's rich, and I think there's a depth of gold in there that just makes it outstanding. This one was the anthraquinone, which was in the background, which I also think is gorgeous. And this, I think this one, there could be some things that I do with it. This one I like really well as well. I just don't like the composition quite as well. We had a wealth of prints that we accomplished in this video. Stamping, backgrounds, a little bit of an overlay, and of course these stamped images that were pulled. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, leave me a comment. I always love to hear from you, and I'll see you in my next video.